All right, so we're back. We're continuing where we left off. We did the Atlantic review, we did the Central review, and the last division in the Eastern Conference is the Southeast Division. The teams we're going to cover are the Hawks, the Hornets, the Heat, the Magic, and the Wizards. And we're going to jump right into it with the Hawks.
So yeah, I'll be talking about the Hawks today. Honestly, they did amazing this year during the playoffs. I feel like a lot of people saw them as a first round exit, maybe a second round with Philly, but Trey Young and just everyone in the Hawks team showed out. And I don't have a lot to say with them other than to continue building their young core. They got a they got a great pickup with Bogdanovich. Can't believe they got him.
They snabbed him somehow.
Yeah, and I don't want to say they were overachieving this year, but they still need the experience, right? So other than like developing the young core, I don't know what else do you guys think the Hawks can
I
do?
feel like the Hawks are in a beautiful situation right now because they have a star, an absolute like stud in Trey Young. And then if you look at their depth chart, like across the board, they are loaded at every position. At the point guard, they have Trey Young, they have Chris Dunn, they have Lou Williams, and then on the wing, it's Bogdanovich, they have Hunter, they have Cam Reddish, Kevin Herter, and then up
Mm-hmm.
front they have Gallo, Capella, they have Okongwu, they have Collins. So they're deep everywhere.
Yeah,
And then they even have veteran players up beyond that. They have Tony Snell, they have Solomon Hill. They have players that can make a difference. So it's just building for the young players, mainly seeing what DeAndre Hunter can become offensively. Defensively is really good, but
yeah,
they need more offensively from Hunter. They need more defensively from Collins. And then Trey Young is just going to get better with age. He's 22 and he's already a superstar, so it's only up,
yeah.
it's going up for them from here. I just hope they don't try to make a move to win now and mess up their future. Because right now the future is very bright, and I don't want them trading any of their young pieces right now because all of them are good. All the young players are really good.
Yeah, it's a
Mhm.
solid team. I definitely think that. Uh,
Yeah, I wish we saw Hunter a bit more during
Yeah,
the
my
playoffs.
yeah,
looking at the roster, the only real like quote unquote hole I would say that they have is they don't have a go-to scorer in the sense that Trey Young can score the ball. Don't get me wrong; he has the floater, he has range, he can get all anywhere on the court he wants to and get a shot. But he's short, and in the playoffs, you want somebody that can get their shot over taller guys, whatever on switches or on the wing. So if they could get a wing player that could be a potential upgrade, somebody that can score the ball more potently, that'd be a huge plus. And they'd get more out of Trey Young in that situation too. But
Yeah,
overall, their roster is very deep and it's very balanced.
Bradley Beal question mark.
Yeah, that's always like you can throw the Bradley Beal for every team.
team.
This team actually has the pieces to get him. They could facilitate a deal where they throw in Capella or Bogdanovich. It would probably be built around Bogdanovich. It'd be like Bogdanovich, Okongwu, Reddish, and Hunter, which is a lot of your future. But if you're getting a player like Bradley Beal, then it's worth it.
Yeah,
The anything else for the Hawks?
That's about it, really.
All right, yeah, that's one of the easier teams, honestly, because again, they are so deep and they are overachieving as of last year. So
Yeah. I'm excited to see what they have in store. I feel like Atlanta, they're probably going to be in the conversation soon. So,
yeah, I mean, in the immediate future, it's going to be all the Nets, but they're in 4 or 5 years in the future, the Hawks are going to be a powerhouse as long as they can build this young core out, build out their roster a bit more with more high end talent, possibly.
yeah.
That's about it. So the next team in the Central Division is the Charlotte Hornets.
Yep.
Legendary, you can take it from here.
yeah. So Hornets, great team. They got Lamelo, got Gordon Hayward, right? I think if they can get a good center, right, kind of lacking there. Andre Drummond. I feel like him, Lamelo, and Gordon Hayward can be a pretty good big three. They
Yeah,
can be
quote
somewhat of
unquote.
a threat,
Yeah, for sure.
right? And it'll just better their chances to win in the playoffs. I feel like that's what they need, right?
I mean, there's only so far that Cody Zeller and Bismack Biyombo can take you. I think if they can get Drummond somewhere in the 14 to 18 million dollar range per year, it'll be an added bonus for them. But they need to shed some salary if they want to do that. They need to, especially, actually no. Cody Zeller is actually coming off of his contract now. He's a free agent, so they have the money to get Drummond if they want him.
which I think they should, to be honest.
They should.
They
They
could
should
use
want
his
him.
caliber of skill.
Yeah. I mean, the other option would be like somebody like Dwight Howard, but he's a bit older. I feel like if
Mhm.
they could get Drummond on a 4 for like 70, actually that's a bit overpay. I would say like 4 for like 50, 55, 3-4 years. That would be good. They would build out their roster pretty decently in that situation.
Yeah.
Because they have a deep
Uh,
team too. They have Rozier, they have Monk, they have Bridges, Washington. They have a lot of good players. Devontae Graham, the Martin brothers. So
Yeah. They just need a couple pieces.
yeah, they're a long ways in terms of winning everything. But that's not the goal for every team. For this team, the goal should be to make the playoffs. First of all, make the make the playoffs. Because
Yeah.
realistically, they're better than a lot of teams that have been making it as of late.
This is
Their roster
funny,
has talent.
but I felt like yeah, maybe 2 years ago or a couple of years ago, you would say the Hornets' goal was to get like viewership, just because like they're kind of like the laughing stock for a bit. They had Kemba Walker and everything with that, but I'm really happy to see them like have fun, because 2020 to 2021 that year, LaMelo Ball, I feel like it was just a fun team. They were giving me Brooklyn Nets vibes with D'Lo.
Yeah, because LaMelo is one of the best already in the league at
Passers.
getting his. Sorry, what?
He's one of like the best passers in my
Yeah, one of the
opinion.
best passers. He can pass his teammates open, get them easy shots, and his head's always up. So when they're in transition or in the half court, somebody's cutting or somebody's filling the lane, LaMelo sees everything. He's gonna find them as long as they run, which is good for the team in the sense that when LaMelo has the ball, the other players can rest and they don't have to feel like, oh, I need the ball now. I need to make a play, because the play is being made for them. It's just on them to score. Makes the
Mhm.
game simple.
Yeah, he's also a very entertaining guy to watch.
Yeah, for
LaMelo.
sure.
Yeah.
He's one of the
And
best
Jello's
league pass
there?
guys. And Jello is
Yeah.
going there too.
Yeah. Leangelo joining the Hornets summer league team. Yeah.
There's always going
that's
to be
great.
the rumors of Lonzo going there too, just because they're brothers. It's all this. You're never gonna escape that if you're them. But
Yeah.
that would be a good duo, because Lamelo's a great defender, or sorry, Lonzo's a great defender, a great passer. He can shoot, and then Lamelo is a great creator. So them two brothers could play off of each other and make a lot of
Yeah.
noise in Eastern
That's
Chino
Conference.
Hills Part 2.
Yeah. Chino Hills,
Yeah.
but in the NBA,
Chino Hills, and that's how they would play too. Especially if they could get Drummond, they'd be playing up and down, fast paced, pick and roll basketball. And I think Charlotte would be popping if they got Lonzo as well. That'd be crazy.
Mm.
Anything
That's
else
all I
for the
that's
Hornets?
all I got for the Hornets.
Yeah. So the next team, one of the complicated ones from the season, is the Heat. They struggled this last year after destroying the Bucks the year before. They got swept this last year, and in that matchup, I think a lot of people thought that the Heat had a chance to take it, but they got completely destroyed, and I don't think anyone saw that coming. So what do you guys think about the Heat?
Man, like you said, I feel like this might be a weird opinion, but I don't think they're too far away from like being back. Yeah, honestly, they're already not contenders for the title, but like they're willing to put a fight. So honestly, they need to grab a solid point guard, because at this point, Oladipo is a little bit questionable. Whether or not he's gonna be. I feel like he's too much of a liability now due to his injuries, and the question of what if will he perform like at the same level he did before? That's also in the air. So
yeah, I mean, the good situation for them is that they only traded Kelly Olynyk and another bum to get Oladipo.
yeah,
And even though Oladipo didn't give him anything, the positive of the trade is that Oladipo is coming off of his contract. They don't have him on the books. Goran Dragic has a $19 million option, but that's a team option. Same thing with Iggy. He has a $15 million option. So with all those salaries coming off the books, they have 36 for Jimmy, 28 for Bam. They have 4 for Hero, 3 for Achua, and then they have 2 more players at 1.5 each. So they could presumably go get another star in the offseason. I think the name that, again, he's linked to every team that needs a point guard, but it's Kyle Lowry.
Yeah,
But this is one of the more realistic ones because it's not a complicated sign and trade situation. It would be a simple signing for the Heat.
and plausible as well due to his
Very plausible.
Kyle's connection with Jimmy Butler. They're really good friends, so
Yeah.
I can see that possibly.
And
Also-
Kyle, sorry.
Oh no, continue.
Yeah, so I was gonna say Kyle's playmaking, I feel like he could get the most out of players like Bam, Hero, Achua, KZ Okpala. He could get a lot out of those guys because Kyle is another one of those players that has his head up at all times, sees his teammates and can make plays. So it's just a good situation if Kyle goes there, especially for him because if he goes to a team like the Lakers or the Clippers, it would be like, okay, he's jumping on a bandwagon. Whereas if he went to the Heat, it'd be like, okay, he's actually one of the 3 players that they need to win a championship. If they look to win a championship, they need him. So
Yeah.
it'd be a better situation for him career-wise as well.
Yeah. So I mean, other than their point guard situation, this isn't really like what they should improve on, but it's more of my take on an individual. I feel like Bam should be a bit more confident with his jumpers. Because the reason why I felt like the Bucks won was they played a very traditional center in Brook Lopez, and dude, there were moments where Brook Lopez would give Bam like so much space, and it's like a 17-footer, but Bam wouldn't take the open shot.
It's crazy because he did that in the regular season. He was talking about how he developed his mid-range, had a bit more range, and then when he got to the playoffs, he never did it.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like I'm not sure about the other games, but especially like game 1, that was a really close game, and I felt like things could have been different. Bam. Not specific. I'm not blaming the team's loss on Bam, but like now that he got a solid contract, I feel like there's a bit more expectations being placed on him. So,
and for good reason. He's a potential star. Like he's a star player already, but he has the potential to be like this defensive dynamo player. And if he can just add some more range, it'll be absolutely horrific to play against him. Because he's a 6'9" mobile center that can switch onto the perimeter. Guards can't just walk by him. He makes it so difficult on fast guards because he's fast himself. But
super versatile.
Super versatile. Probably one of the most versatile defenders in the league, I would say.
Yeah, and then this is like, any team could use this, but, specifically for the Heat, lend more help through this offseason, whether it's, like you said, Kyle Lowry or DeRozan or even Beal, having another piece that could help get them buckets would be pretty helpful.
Yeah, because Jimmy's not that reliable. Like Jimmy, his jump shot, even though he's called Jimmy G buckets, like sometimes he's not a bucket. And you need a guy that is a bucket getter like that because
also you want to like take some of the like weight off of Jimmy's shoulders because he's kind of their go-to when it comes to like the closing situation.
No, for sure. I think
he plays long minutes and he's getting older
too. They really give him a huge line share of the minutes. He plays like 40 minutes a game.
Yeah.
And he can keep doing that. But when he's running pick and roll for like 28 of those minutes and he's the primary ball handler, that really takes a toll. And I feel like he could have done more against the Bucks if he just wasn't getting beaten to the ground through the regular season. So yeah, he definitely needs more, especially ball handling wise. He needs more help.
Yeah.
Anything else for the Heat?
Nothing from me. What about you guys?
Honestly, like again, they're another one of those teams where they didn't meet expectations, but because of COVID, a lot of teams' expectations were higher than they should have been because they exceeded their expectations. The Heat making the finals was great for them for that 1 year, but now their expectations are to make the finals again, and it's not realistic for them because they just don't have that kind of roster. They kind of just it was kind of fluky the way they made the finals, and now against the same team with better players, they got swept. So, I don't know.
Drew Holiday effect. They didn't have Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah, Drew Bledsoe became Drew Holiday. Anything else? I don't think so. So Bar, I think your next team is the Magic, right?
Yeah, so for the Magic, I think we all know, man, they got too many guards on their team, man. Definitely think they can get rid of some, right? They don't need all of them. Uh, what do you guys think on that?
I mean, they have a lot of guards, but they're not very like outside of Cole Anthony. I don't think any of them are keepers. I would say RJ Hampton's young. You should keep him. But outside of them two, like Gary Harris is overpaid as hell. He's getting paid $20 million this next year. He's pretty garbage at that price figure. Um, Terrence Ross, more of a wing player. He's not that good anymore. Michael Carter Williams, same thing. Like he's not that good anymore. So yeah, they honestly they need help at every position. But in this league, you need guards, and that's where their guards just aren't good enough.
Yeah, no, I definitely think they can figure out some trade with some other teams to get something back. Like, even if it's just like a decent center or like a power forward or something, just to like kind of help the team.
Yeah,
A veteran is always good, right?
no, for
Uh,
sure. I
just-
think they have their centers for the future. They have Mo Bamba, who's 23. They have Wendell, who they traded Vucevic for, who is better in my opinion than Mo Bamba, and he's going to be starting next year. So they have the centers. I think they need a big man that can stretch the floor. Like if they could get their hands on like a Gallinari type, I think that would go a long way for them, just to space the floor and have some offensive creation
yeah,
on the perimeter.
yeah. Speaking of that, they also, I mean, you can just say any team in the NBA needs a 3-point shooter, but I feel like the Magic specifically can use one.
Yeah, they don't have a single good shooter on their team. Like I'm looking at their roster right now. Otto Porter used to be a good shooter, not really anymore. Gary Harris, same thing. Terrence Ross, same thing. And then the other guys aren't shooters anyways. I
Yeah,
think the best shooter on their team is Dwayne Bacon, and nobody really cares about him. So
yeah. Yeah, so I feel like they just need some solid players. And their team right now, I feel like it's just kind of whack, just kind of
oh,
out
for
of
sure.
place. It just doesn't really work, you know?
The positive in their situation is that they have the fifth and the eighth picks. The eighth they got in the deal from Chicago. Um, so they have some draft capital that they could trade or draft with. And in my opinion, with those picks, they should just draft and build for the future because they have those two, and then they also have the 33rd pick, so the second round third pick. And early in the second round, you can usually get a good player that can make an impact instantly.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, that's all I got for the team, man.
So the next team, the final team of this conference or of this division, and actually of the Eastern Conference as well, is the Washington Wizards, which is a very complicated one because they have two players that are stars, and they could go either way. There's two ways they could go. So,
Yeah.
Shank,
So
what do you have for this team?
Take it away.
yeah. So I mean, like you said, the way I see it, Wizards organization can go two ways. One is, give as much support for Bradley Beal and Westbrook as you can, whether that's, grabbing another star piece or specifically trying to get like a really good defender in the offseason. That's one way they could go because their defense was pretty glaring this year. So that's what I would say. Or alternatively, and this is a little bit controversial, but blow it up,
I
trade
think that's the way
Beal.
they should go. They should blow it up because Westbrook
Yeah.
kind of played up his value compared to what they traded for him. If they could get a pick or two for him, and then their package that they would get back for Beal would be absolutely amazing.
Mhm.
I feel like they could
Yeah.
build for the future.
Yeah. And they have a pretty solid young core right now, with Bryant, Rui Hachimura, and I forgot his name. The
Denny
guy they
Avdia.
draft. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And he has a potential to be a star. Him and Rui on the wings could be lethal in the future. I think one of them would have to figure out who's going to play the power forward. I think it would be Rui because of his
Rui.
rebounding.
Mhm.
But honestly, I think the way to go for them is to blow it up. They have Russ Westbrook, who's 32. He's a bit he's only going down from here, and he played his value back up, making the playoffs last year. He was a huge part of their run to get back into the playoff race. So I think he has some value. He's connected to the Lakers, but
Yeah.
so is everybody else. So I don't really read too much into that, especially because he's making $44 million and the Lakers can't afford that. But yeah, if they blow it up, they could get back a lot for them too. I think the problem is that they jumped on the gun to sign Davis Bertans. They gave him 5 years, $75 million, and he's not worth that much money. He's making $16 million the next 2 years, then 17, then 16 again. So I don't think he's worth that dollar figure.
Yeah.
But they're lucky he's a shooter, so they can actually get something back for him. There's so many teams that need the shooting.
Mhm.
The Wizards have a lot of options, man.
Yeah. That's a good
Sorry.
situation to be in, despite them being outside of the playoff race. They made the 8 seed last year, barely, and then they got completely destroyed. But I think they have the chance to make a run if they get another player. I just don't see how they would do that.
Yeah.
Neither do I.
Yeah, sorry, Wizards fans, but
Yeah. The few of them that are out there, I feel bad for you because there could be a chance that Bradley Beal's gone before the season starts, and he was the leading scorer in the league this last year. So anytime you're losing presumably the best scorer of the future in the next 3-4 years, it's a tough pill to swallow for sure.
Mhm.
Anything else for the Washington Wizards?
Not for me. What about you guys?
I mean, Washington, they have the first pick outside the lottery. They have the 15th pick, so they could get something there.
Mhm.
But I think they should trade for more draft capital and blow it up because this team isn't really going anywhere.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
They seem like they're treading water at this point, and they have been since John Wall was there years ago. They've been treading water for the better part of a decade, and that's the worst place to be in the league because you're not winning and you're not making it deep into the playoffs, but then you're also not getting a high draft pick. Like even this year, they're getting the 15th, which is relatively low.
This draft is interesting.
Yeah,
There's a
that
lot
I'll
of
say
talent.
that I agree with. I would say for sure this is one of the more interesting drafts because especially the top 8 are very, very formidable players. That's why Orlando's in a good situation as well, is because they have 2 of the top 8 picks. But if you're
Yeah.
Washington, you want to be in that situation as well. So I think they should blow it up, lose a little bit, take the tanking route,
Yeah.
and free Bradley Beal, man. He needs to win something now. He's too good to be rotting
How
away
old is
on a
he?
mediocre team.
30? 29?
Yeah. You said you're going to make the 12th seed?
No. How old is Bradley Beal now?
He is 28.
28. Yeah.
So he's in his prime. Like this is it. This is peak Bradley Beal we're getting right now. And he showed it last year. He was the scoring leader of the league. So
Yeah. Or second, but either ways, great player, man. Yo, I love watching him play.
yeah, he gets buckets everywhere. Like one possession, you can't. There's a lot of players that they're great, but they do a lot of the same stuff over and over, so it's predictable. Bradley Beal is a great slasher. He's great in the mid range. He's great at the 3-point line. He has mad range, and he draws a lot of fouls. So he's scoring on 4 levels, not even 3 levels, because he gets to the line as well. But
Love
yeah,
that guy.
yeah, for sure. Anything
But
else
if he
for the
gets
Wizards?
traded, the Wizard era is over officially. John Wall is gone, and then Bradley Beal's no longer there either.
John Wall in his prime, people forget how good he really was. He was amazing. Like this guy was like Sonic the Hedgehog. When he got the ball, he was gone. Like you could not keep up with this dude. It was crazy to watch.
Bro, slasher takeover.
Slasher takeover. And he had that on like 100, bro, because this guy would go down the court and even being a righty, he would throw down with the left hand and he'd destroy so many people. Like I don't, there's countless people he's posterized or done 360 layups on.
Yeah.
In the last 10 years. And it kind of sucks that Houston got the shell of that. They didn't really get a good player out of it.
Yeah.
Anything else for the Wizards?
I really don't got much to say past that. I mean, I feel like we covered everything there now.
Yeah, I feel like it too. So that does it then. We'll do the Western Conference in the next episode now. So for the rest of this,
stay tuned.
It's been real. You guys have a good night.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning into today's pod. Shout out to Kaiser Draws for the logo and YouTube banner, and huge shout out to Vic.Ash for the music. Links to the pages will be in the description below. Once again, thanks for listening. Like, comment, and subscribe for more YouTube content.